Hey everyone, I finished watching the next Time Force episode, Dawn of Destiny. I freaking love this episode. This is one of the best episodes of Time Force. One of the best episodes of Power Rangers, period. It is amazing. Like, everything about it just works so well. I went to Ranger Wiki after watching this. I went to errors, and there's actually a few errors in here, but they don't really hurt the series. They don't hurt this episode at all. One of the big things is, like, the running whole drive of like part of the Rangers plot here and the whole season is, what if the Rangers being displaced in 2001 changes the future, and the serum that was developed last episode for Venomark's bite is now being mass produced. I don't really know why, since Venomark is dead, but I don't know, maybe the serum has like other like beneficial uses or something. Anyway, Jen says that the serum is not supposed to be invented for another 200 years. But wait a minute, in Frax's Fury, Dr. Ferrix was the one who invented the serum, and he was in the year 3000, or like a few years before. So 2001 plus 200, that doesn't equal 3000. It's not even close. That's several hundred years off. So that's kind of a weird thing. And it's a weird error to make, considering most of these were written by the same people and story edited by the same people. But it's a really minor thing, and as a kid it never bothered me. As an adult, it's like just a little nitpicky thing that, like, I don't know, maybe Jen meant that there's like the serum, like, I don't know, the basis for the serum or something. Like, it's not exactly what Dr. Ferrix developed. His was like, I don't know, maybe a refined version of it, or like a specific usage of it or something. I don't know, whatever, anyway. This episode starts off, Rancic is in the woods searching for Frax, who betrayed him in the last episode. He's revived a new mutant, Severax, and a bunch of Cyclobots. He has the Cyclobots and Severax looking for Frax. Severax, Frax. Anyway, some of the Cyclobots actually do find Frax, but then Frax tells them, like, not to tell Rancic where he is. Us robots have to stick together. And they actually listen to him. And Rancic is like, what did you find? And they're like, mm-hmm. It's a funny little bit. Anyway, then at the clock tower, Trip comes in with this Polaroid camera, and the Rangers are fooling around with the Polaroid camera. Which, me and my friends did that too, so this was a very relatable thing to do. I like this. It's a weird little bit that has nothing to do with the rest of the episode, but it's so much fun, and there's like so many little character moments. I don't mind. It works perfectly. It works a lot better than when they do stuff like that now. Like, now they have scenes where the Rangers are goofing around, but it like either goes on too long, it's too goofy, too jokey, or it just doesn't feel right, or the tone is wrong. I don't know. I feel like Time Force was able to perfect a lot of things about Power Rangers, and I really wish this was the way the show was still made, but whatever. Back to the synopsis. Let's see. Jen interrupts their fun, telling them about how the serum might change the future. So then the Ranger, or Wes, is like, I'm gonna go to Biolab and get it back from my dad, and so he goes to Biolab, and I guess he just plans on taking it out without telling anybody. Like, surely if they could make this serum, they have formulas and stuff for it. They made it very quickly. Just taking the stuff away isn't going to erase that they probably, like, wrote this stuff. Actually, why wasn't this in the errors? This is a way bigger error. Like, if they developed something that was so beneficial that they're going to keep making it after its like initial intended use is null, then surely they would have like sent the formula to like scientific journals or something. Kid show, whatever. Anyway, back to the thing. Mr. Collins shows up. Wes doesn't tell him about this for some reason. I don't know. I guess he doesn't want to tell his father that the Rangers are from the future? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a thing. Like, he could tell his father. Like, his father couldn't use the fact that they're from the future for any, like, gain for himself. other than, like, going to them and asking them about, like, stuff from the future. Hey, can you give me this thing from the future? But, like, he probably has already surmised that, like, they won't give him stuff like that, just if he asks. I don't know, I'm rambling now anyway. Uh, Eric comes in, Mr. Collins has Eric lock the serum up, and then meanwhile, Ransik and Nadira, they can't find Frax, and so they're back at the base, and Nadira brings up to her father, hey, what about Biolab? Didn't they make serum in the last episode? And Ransik's like, oh yeah. So then we cut to Frax, and we see what Frax is doing. Frax has somehow gotten some new building. I don't know, it's in the abandoned building district, I guess. He also has a whole bunch of Cyclobots, which I'm wondering, did he build all these within like a few hours, or were these Cyclobots that were like in the base and he like just went up and told a few of them, hey, come on, work for me now, and they were like, okay. So anyway, he's building his own War Zord. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, back to the other plot. Let's see. Oh yeah, the weird thing with this, Frax is in this building with the Cyclobots, building his robot, and he doesn't realize he's being watched. There's a spy camera somewhere, watching him, and the guy watching through him, or watching through the spy camera, is that dude, mysterious dude from the future who sends the Shadow Winger to the Rangers. And he'll be important later. So anyway, back to the other plot, other plot. Ransik goes to Biolab himself to steal back the serum, and I like this scene because it really shows the desperation Ransik has. He needs the serum. He's not going to trust a monster, or the Cyclobots, or even Nadira to go and get it for him. He's going himself to get it, and I like that. It's a cool thing, because usually in Power Rangers, when the main villain like is proactive and does something himself or herself, it really shows like the stakes are high, that either they really need something or they're very assured that they'll accomplish something. It's just a really cool thing. It's like back in Mighty Morphin, we didn't often see Rita leave the moon. When she left the Moon Palace, it was a big deal and it meant a lot. At least in the first two seasons. In the third season, it happens a bit more often. I'm thinking of like in Doomsday when I think it's in Doomsday, she comes off the Moon Palace to talk to Goldar or whatever. And then when Zed is in the command center, like he teleports in the command center, that's a cool moment. That time when he kidnapped Kat and Tommy goes in the rescue her and we see Tommy and Zed fight, that's really cool. And Zeo, let's see. Oh yeah, when King Mondo grows giant at the end and the Rangers fight him when they're giant, that's a really cool big thing that I loved when I was a kid. In Turbo, yeah, not so much in Turbo. In Turbo's, Divatox went to Earth all the time. Her base was on Earth. It wasn't off Earth. Astronema's a bit different, because she was off Earth. But she would go down and fight the Rangers occasionally, like on other planets or on Earth. She was a more hands-on villain. But yeah. I think I got off topic. Where was I? Oh yeah, back to the thing. Ransik is in Biolabs, and let's see, he brings a bunch of Cyclobots. The Silver Guardians are fighting off the Cyclobots, and he gets the serum, and just in time, because his mutation is acting up, and he's got the spikes coming out. He has spikes come out his face. He takes the thing, but he doesn't realize Mr. Collins is right outside. He sees this all happening, and Mr. Collins suddenly realizes why Wes wanted to get the serum away. He doesn't think it's because of, like, the future or anything. He thinks that Wes wanted it away because it would help Ransik. And when Ransik is about to leave with the serum, Mr. Collins stops him and tells him to his face, if I had known that serum would have helped you, I would have thrown it down the drain myself. Love that. It's so cool that he's standing up to Ransik, because Mr. Collins is a cool character. I like him. Like, at times, he can be a very basic, kind of cliche character. Like, he's the money-obsessed business guy. Like, it's money first and nothing else. But there's times like this where we see a little bit more depth to him, and we see that, like, apart from the money obsession, he's also a father. He loves Wes, no matter what Wes does. There's a line Ransik knows that this is Wes's father for some reason. And he knows that Wes is the Red Ranger. He knows who the Rangers are. Like, there's no secret. Don't listen to Full Exposure from a few episodes ago. That episode was drunk. So anyway, Rancic says, I know you, son. I know you threw him out of your life. And then Mr. Collins responds, that's right. And I can't remember his exact line. I remember he chose his own path and I'll always be proud of him for it. And when Rancic sees that Mr. Collins isn't standing down, he just zaps him out of the way. Just boom, boom, and just blasts him right out of the way. It's such a cool scene, and one of the other nice things, one of the good things storytelling-wise about this episode, it's not concluded in this episode. That'll be in the next episode. And this isn't like is this a two-parter? Let me look in my little booklet here. Let's see. Yeah, Dawn of Destiny, and then Fight Against Fate. So this wasn't a, typical two-parter. It's just a serialized couple of episodes. They didn't feel the need to put a part 1, part 2 on this, which is nice. Like, it doesn't always have to have the part 1, part 2. So then anyway, Rancic goes past Mr. Collins. He escapes with the serum. Eric sees him. There's a brief fight with him and Eric, and he just blasts Eric right away. Then Eric comes to, he goes back to Biolabs and sees Mr. Collins is being taken out in an ambulance. He goes with the ambulance to the hospital that Mr. Collins is taken to, and that's a cool little moment. It shows that, it goes beyond him just trying to be a good soldier or a good worker for his boss. He genuinely cares about Mr. Collins at this point, and it's a cool moment. So then, the Rangers finally show up to arrest Rancic's mutant and stop the Cyclobots. The mutant grows, Rangers call the Zords. Basic stuff. This is probably the weakest part of the episode. And I've noticed a trend, usually in very plot-heavy episodes, the weakest part is the typical Power Rangers stuff. It's very weird. You'd think they would have tried to work it in better if they had a really big, good idea. Anyway, the guy from the future sends the Shadow Winger, but this time there's a difference. This time he suits up and goes along with it. I don't know exactly where he goes. I assume he's riding in the Shadow Winger. Does he just jump out before it goes to the Rangers? Whatever, anyway, the Rangers defeat the mutant, and meanwhile Frax is nearly done with his robot, and then back with the Rangers. The Rangers are celebrating their victory over the latest mutant, and then the guy from the future approaches them, and the camera spins around, and we see him take his sunglasses off, and we see his face, and it's Alex. Alex is alive. What the, Big ending. It's really cool. I remember as a kid this blew my mind, because I remember seeing the first episode, Alex is dead, and that really stuck in my mind. Oh wow, a guy actually died. And then it turns out he's not dead. He's alive. What? Who? How? And he looks like Wes. And that was a weird thing, because I remember, when I was a kid, in that first episode, they mention how the guy looks like Wes, they meet Wes and say he looks like Alex. And my young mind kind of forgot about that by this point, and, I just saw Wes as Wes, and the guy from the future is just this weird guy from the future. But then this, rejiggered my memory, and I was like, whoa, wait, what, huh? Oh, right, yeah, because they looked alike, yeah, right, I remember now, okay. Anyway, dumb little kid me. Anyway, this is a really, really good episode. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it analysis-wise. I already went over a lot of it at the beginning. Not a whole lot to say. This is a really, really good episode. I really love this one. Easily one of my favorite Time Force episodes. It's one of the best Power Rangers episodes, period. It's right up there with some of the best. I kind of wish Power Rangers could still do episodes like this. I feel like if they were to do something like this now in Dino Fury, it either wouldn't work, or it'd be a really good episode, and it would just make me wonder why they don't do this kind of stuff more often. I really feel like the new Dino Fury episodes that just came out, and I've been watching those, really affect like my enjoyment of the older seasons. They make me like the older. They make me appreciate the older seasons a lot more for the variety of what they could do. Like I was thinking about, I don't remember when it was. I was thinking about how like different eras of Power Rangers, like how they shift. Like the Zordon era shifts into Lost Galaxy, which then shifts into Lightspeed. Then there's like the Wild Force season, which is in between Saban and Disney, and then that shifts into Ninja Storm. And then we have RPM into Samurai. And now with the Hasbro era, we have Ninja Steel shifting into Beast Morphers, which shifts into Dino Fury. And I was thinking about the different eras and how like the tone is different and how each era kind of brought its own thing and felt different from what came before. And the Hasbro era is the first one that really doesn't feel different at all, because we had Ninja Steel, then Beast Morphers, now Dino Fury, and each one kind of feels the same. They feel very much like the same show with the same crew writing the same kind of stories. Each season just feels very bland because of that. Like at the time, Ninja Steel was seen as like one of the worst seasons of the show because of its like focus on comedy, these heavy-handed morals being shoved in at the end, very generic plots, but like at the time, I kind of felt like that gave it its own identity. Like at least it's doing something different than what's come before. But then they did it again for Beast Morphers, and now they're doing it again for Dino Fury. And I like Dino Fury, some of it. Ion's really stupid. I don't like him. um, Time Force is really good. I really like Time Force. I wish the seasons could be more like that and less like what they are now, which is very childish and not really appealing to all ages unless you go to Twitter. So, yeah, that's all for this one, I guess. See ya.